Welcome back to my annual Oscar series where I talk about all the Oscar categories except for the short film ones. I rank all the nominees per category according to who I think deserves to win the Oscar. Then I make a prediction for who I think will win that Oscar. Right now, let's talk about the Last Acting Award, Best Actor. And the nominees are Casey Affleck as Lee Chandler in Manchester by the Sea, Andrew Garfield as Desmond T. Doss in Hacksaw Ridge, Ryan Gosling as Sebastian Wilder in La La Land, Viggo Mortensen as Ben Cash in Captain Fantastic, and Denzel Washington as Troy Maxon in Fences. Now, I think this is a really strong list of nominees. The only person I wish was here was Joel Edgerton. I wish there was some sort of way to get him in here for his performance in Loving. But this is a hard lineup to argue with because everyone here is just so good and I love everyone's performances here. So this was, of course, tough putting in order, almost unfair at a certain point. So in terms of who I think deserves this Oscar, at 5th place I'm going to give it to Viggo Mortensen. Now, I love Captain Fantastic and I was just overjoyed to see Viggo Mortensen nominated because I didn't know anyone would ever take notice of this small independent film, but Viggo Mortensen is really good in it. It's just great to watch him be really assertive as this unorthodox father, and really angry also at times. But he really impressed me when his character had to face the fact that his beliefs were being challenged and him having to reckon with the idea that maybe he's not parenting his kids right. And just in those moments of disbelief, you can see how he's influenced by his late wife's wishes. He's influenced by the relationship he has with his kids, the relationship he has with his in-laws. He's a very complex, unconventional character that he makes very clear to the audience. Now, at 4th place, I'm going to give it to Ryan Gosling in Lalaland. Now, like with Emma Stone's performance, it's easy to say that Ryan Gosling isn't really acting, he's just kind of playing himself. But I did think he felt just so real in La La Land and just how overconfident he was, because I know people like that who really don't doubt their abilities or the abilities of the people they love, and so can be kind of reckless in that sense. But what I love about his portrayal of Sebastian in La La Land is that you can really see his intense love for jazz. When he's on the piano, he kind of turns into a different sort of person, but in the same kind of way as, let's say, when you see your friend start performing on stage as an actor or a musician, they just kind of turn into someone else, but you can tell it's still them, but it's like a truer version of themselves. And of course, the ending of La La Land has some people exchanging looks with each other, and Ryan Gosling is one of those people, and just the looks he gives say everything about how that character is feeling. And I don't want to spoil the ending for those who still have not seen La La Land, but those looks alone really made him worthy of a nomination. Now, at 3rd place, and this is going to be kind of controversial because I switched this up last minute, but at 3rd place I'm going to give it to Denzel Washington. Now, he is incredible in Fences, don't get me wrong, and it's hard to argue with the fact that he won a Tony for this very same role. And so he did deserve this Oscar nomination, definitely. This is a role that requires endless charisma, which of course Denzel Washington is up to the task for that. But at the same time, this is a really scary dude who is just so haunted and so broken, and somehow Denzel Washington manages to put that across. He's a guy who is really not easy to like, and yet you do understand where he's coming from, even if you don't get that much real an explicit look into his backstory compared to, say, Lee from Manchester by the Sea. Here, he's broken, and you pick up on little bits and pieces of it as the film goes on. The reason why I put him down to number 3 from number 2 was that I realized that his performance is just a bit stagey compared to Viola Davis's performance as Rose. I felt like that performance was really something made for the screen. Here, it still kind of feels like at times a performance for the stage. That's why he's at number 3. At 2nd place, I'm going to put Andrew Garfield, and Hacksaw Ridge is maybe the best performance Andrew Garfield has ever given. You totally believe him in all his goofiness, especially in the first act. He really comes across as just this, he's just so damn likable. He's like Forrest Gump, and he's so innocent and whatnot. And seeing that innocence move to the battlefield in the 2nd act of Hacksaw Ridge, it's not jarring in any way. You still believe that this is Desmond Doss running around the battlefield. And watching Andrew Garfield portray this guy as a medic helping other soldiers on Hacksaw Ridge, it makes you feel like you're watching a real life hero. Like, you stop seeing Andrew Garfield. It's just Desmond Doss. And I love that Andrew Garfield's portrayal of Desmond Doss really shows what true courage is, because true courage is not the absence of fear. True courage is the willingness to keep going even if you're scared. And you can tell in Hacksaw Ridge that Desmond is scared out of his mind, and yet he continues doing it because his principles and his beliefs are firm, and it's just an inspiring performance. And finally, at number 1, the guy who I think deserves to win Best Actor is Casey Affleck. And whatever you think of Casey Affleck and the controversy surrounding him, I'm not gonna address that because this video is just about them as actors and him as an actor. Just based on his performance in this movie, he is incredible. It's a masterclass in restrained acting. It's maybe one of the best performances ever given by an actor on screen, in my opinion. He's out of control because it's just so tough to portray someone who has no feelings. You know, he's dead inside for a very good reason, and it's hard to put that across without looking just bored on screen. Whenever Casey Affleck in this movie is confronted with a piece of bad news or something, he doesn't react the way other people react, but you just kind of see life flashing before his eyes, and you can tell like there's something wrong with this dude. But when you find out the reason why he is the way he is, like, it makes total sense. And what makes his performance so painful is that in flashbacks you get to see how he was before this bad thing happened, and it's just painful to see like these little traces of who he was kind of like almost getting out to the surface but never actually doing it. And like I said, this is pretty much a perfect restrained performance. You really get to see that well when he has to deliver certain money lines, but they're not really money lines. Like when he says stuff like "there's nothing there" or "I can't beat it," like they hurt so much precisely because of how simply he says them and how restrained he is. In terms of who I think will win this Oscar, I'm still putting my money on Casey Affleck. I still think there's enough steam in the Affleck hype train to bring him to the Oscar, although I will fully admit that Denzel could probably win this, and I wouldn't be surprised. Alright, so those are my thoughts on Best Actor. What do you guys think of the nominees? Who do you think will win? Who do you think should win? Whatever you guys think, whether you agree with me or not, please leave me a comment. Let's have a conversation.